foremost, I just wanted to thank my producer, Joe Vulpis, who's here tonight. Thanks for being here. This is my band. This is Alex on percussion this evening. Eli on the bass.
So let the sound bring me back. Sounds have no regrets. And before you know it, I'll take your words and be gone. Your words and be gone. Your words and be gone.
So why don't you hit me with the first question, and we'll get rocking on it. I actually met her. Not a lot of people know this, but I originally got together with her to do her college demo to get her into NYU. So at like 16, 17 years old, I was helping her produce, and I played on actually her demo. I think it was Someone to Watch Over Me, and Orange Colored Sky was another track, or Our Love Is Here to Stay. I forget. There was a bunch of standards that got her into Titch.
Nice.
And so that's when I first started working with her, and my impression was always great. I mean, Stephanie has always been beyond, in addition to being a great friend, just a very cool person to work with. I mean, she rocks with it. She's been in every angle you can imagine. She's just a good person to be around when creating music. Oh yeah, no, everything's like I said. I saw her parents the other night. We had dinner at the new restaurant. Spoke to her over the holidays, and actually our friendship is good. She'll call me up. I'll call or email her, and she's a friend. She's a good person, and I'm blessed to that I can actually say that. So it's nice.
It's quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Well, the Word CD, Red and Blue, they were all good.
Yeah.
They sort of evolved as we were working with her in the band, and I got to tell you, just those sessions in general were all great. Wish You Were Here, and Words, obviously. I don't know if there's one that really stands out the most, because they were all a lot of fun to put together and record with her.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not gonna pigeonhole myself and pick one. I'm gonna say I really enjoyed the whole process of it. There was a lot of tracks that went down. It was a lot of months of recording, and I would say the whole process was just always fun. Every song kind of just felt good to go on and finish and do the next one, and you never got tired of what you were doing. Never. Stephanie was always the leader of the pack. I mean, she came in always on 110%. I mean, like anybody else, we all have our days. I mean, you'll come into work, maybe something will have gotten under your skin here and there, but whenever it came to the artistic project, she was always on all cylinders, and she knew what she wanted, and we always worked our best to give her what she expected. Well, I remember that question now. Yeah, you can't really say it only took 2 or 3 years. I mean, I think any artist, and having worked with a few, and have been fortunate enough to be friends with a few, she's been doing it her whole life, whether you realize it's professional or not. I mean, she's always been a songwriter. She's always been an entertainer in her own way, and so I guess what accelerated, or what explains it, I tell this to everybody. It's always a little bit of luck. Actually, it's a lot of bit of luck. It's always timing. But Stephanie is a great songwriter and a great singer, and so that clearly separates one artist from another, or wannabe artist from another, because that's where it starts. I mean, if you can't sit at a piano and bang out a hit song, nothing you do in the studio or session players you bring in or whatnot is going to change that. I mean, that is the core of what makes success. And then on top of that, you could do all that, but you're still going to need your luck. You're going to need your persistence. I mean, persistence is resistance. That's the way I look at life. You cannot give up. You just got to keep, going forth with the way you envision your dream, and hopefully everything else plays into place. And Stephanie had all that, and she never gave up for a second. Never once did she ever, and I say this 100%, did she ever even hint no matter what the day brought in her life, whether it was disappointment, she was sad about something, maybe she had a bad day at school, whatever it was, never once did she ever say the word quit.
Wow. That is truly, the definition of an artist, I suppose.
Yeah, because, in my studio, it's like every other day, it's like, I'm done with this crap, I'm going to go over to Starbucks. Yeah, I mean, Stephanie's the kind of person where, she knows what she wants, but, there were decisions when we were tracking the word CD and whatnot, Red and Blue sessions, where she let me, suggest things. There were things she liked, things she didn't like. We were working with her whole college band at the time, so there was a lot of people offering input. I would say that when it came down to it, it was probably her and I that were ultimately banging our heads together. Just production-wise, and what about this, what about that? My feeling is that she always had the template in her head. She always knew what she wanted, and but she would allow creative input from other people. I mean, she wasn't against bringing it to a better level if it was out there and meant to be done. But I would say most of the time she knew what she wanted. You'll have to ask her that.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I mean, and she knows this is concrete. As I mentioned in some of your previous emails from Stacks and whatnot, I'm never going to release the original sessions, the mastered sessions. I mean, unfortunately, stuff has leaked from some of her gigs and past producers and probably maybe band members. Not to hurt her in any way, but I'm sure that in the course of doing emails and MP3s, things just kind of happen to escape.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff that has never been heard, and a lot of what's bootleg, and I tell this to a lot of people because every day I get requests from anyone that you can imagine looking for sessions and whatnot, and they want to bribe me, they want to give me organs, they'll do anything. They'll sell me their cousin, to get pictures of me. So it's sad that what has leaked really isn't even the best stuff.
Wow.
But out of respect for Stephanie, and I'm taking it to my grave, nothing's getting released without her signing off on it. So whether or not she ever releases it, I would say, I lean to say probably not.
Okay.
But something, she'll make that call if and when the time presents itself. Hollywood was an interesting track because it seems, from what I remember, this was a few years ago, she sort of wrote the track, she had the inspiration, it was gigantic. I remember that we had just finished, don't hold me to these details, but
okay.
But I'm pretty sure this is accurate. We had just finished 5 masters for her, or at least 5 mixes, and we all agreed to take a break. And at that point, myself, a couple of the guys in the studio, we went to Utah to go skiing, and just kind of take 5 days off, and just we had been in the studio nonstop, and and then I remember getting a call from her as soon as I got to Utah, saying that I got my first big record appointment. I want to say it was with Def Jam. They were real serious about stuff, and in the interim, she had started writing Hollywood.
Right.
So I cut my trip a little short because she wanted to absolutely get back in the studio and record Hollywood, and there was another couple new ideas, which I don't know if we ever finished them, but we have about 24 tracks of just miscellaneous live takes. It's really cool, actually. So the Hollywood creative process was pretty amazing because I think she wrote the song relatively quick, and we just came in literally at midnight after flying in from Utah. I still had my ski jacket on, my skis are on my shoulder, and I'm like, all right, let's go to work. And I think we went to work for about 14 hours straight, and we tracked the band until just about everybody passed out. And so the creative process was great. We just blasted it down, live take, until we hit the magic one. And it was a lot of fun, and I don't think we ever lost, we never realized what time it was. We went effortlessly, timelessly, and it was a fun process, that track. Oh, it's great. I mean, it's who doesn't want to see somebody make it? I mean, every day you're in the studio, you get another singer-songwriter in, or someone who aspires to be, or who thinks they're the next Madonna.
Yeah.
And Stephanie, it's interesting. She never had an attitude. The difference between her and a lot of other people, she really came in as who she is, just a real nice person. I mean, if you meet the family, you could see that everyone's from the same group. It's great, and she never tried selling something that wasn't hers. She gave you 100%, and something? I think that's why it happened. And how does it feel? It feels great. It feels great because she wasn't the artist that came in telling all of us that we sucked. You get all the little kids coming in saying, you suck, and my daddy's this, and that. She was none of that. She was like, just let's play piano, let's get the band in here, and let's create something amazing. And with that, that's the way to do it. You want your team to work for you, and there's a way to make it happen. And she naturally is that person that made it happen. Proud of her, and every time we speak, something, not a moment goes by where we just we never forget, the relationship pre-Gaga, which is what I treasure.
Yeah.
And she is still the same person. She really, it's all part of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, she is Gaga, but she is also Stephanie. And it's a nice feeling. I would be there for her 24/7. Obviously she's with, she's signed into a much bigger situation now, and anything's possible in life. And of course, I mean, even if it wasn't as Gaga, if she just said, "Hey, listen, want to get together and jam and record some ideas for the sake of whatever," I would do that. It doesn't have to be as Gaga. It could be as anyone. She's it's not of course. Not to my knowledge, we didn't.
Yeah.
I think we toyed with the idea of doing stuff, doing a verse in another language here and there. To my recollection on all of the hard drives and the takes, I don't recall any vocal takes that were, that were in another language. No. So.
Okay.
Well, let's see. Beautiful, determined, gifted. That's 3 there. So let's start with those 3. Those are pretty good.
Okay.
It's all brilliant. She evolves, in my opinion, not with the times, just with the times, but usually a step ahead of the times. Like she sort of, brings in the next time. And a lot of people, I've read different reviews and stuff, and I guess when you're that big, you're sort of you're the head train, So some of the critics said, "Oh, I've heard some of this before and this, that, and the other thing," but then she'll come out with something that is totally cutting edge and new, and they're like, "Oh, this is too far ahead of our time."
Yeah.
I just that she knows what she wants, and in my opinion, she's right now, and she has been, and I think she'll continue doing so. She's paving the way. I mean, there's no coincidence that, just to reference some other artists, when Katy Perry came out with the one that got away.
Yeah.
I mean, and I just talked to somebody about this at a little college interview at a music school. It's no coincidence that artists are influenced by artists, publishers are influenced by publishers, record labels are influenced. I mean, Katy Perry, the one that got away, this is a perfect example. Sounds like Taylor Swift wrote it.
Right.
And why not? Big Machine Records is, that's Taylor Swift. I mean, that's the template for crossover country, pop, whatever, and she's gigantic. So why not Katy Perry taking that sort of idea? Stephanie obviously did her country song version. There's a lot of artists that it's all crossover. So, to me, critics will say, "Oh, that's been done already." Well, yes, but isn't that cutting edge to make the decision to do it again and evolve it to another level? I mean, Katy Perry's not a country artist, but something, the one that got away, hands down, it's a country song. Oh, sure, you dress it up with programming and stuff like that, but listen to the song and listen to the lyric. That sucker came off Music Row in Nashville,
Yeah.
that's a fact. I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think Stephanie's an innovator. I think everyone keeps redefining their craft, and they're polishing it as they go, and that's what creates what we're expected to see as the next step in music.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure if Stephanie co-wrote any of that song with somebody else. My guess is that she wrote it, but I don't want to, you know, I'm not trying to get a lawsuit or take someone out of the equation. My guess is that it's primarily her creation, if not all of it, and that's what my notes dictated, that it was her. So
Okay.
that's about the best I can ask her. Again, if you see her, you can ask her.
Well, I
I'm sure
hope to
she'll.
see it.
Well, tweet her, you know, or put something out on your website. Maybe she'll answer it. There is so much audio footage that has never been released. I mean, like I said, we worked together for such a long time, you know, months, where all we did was just let Pro Tools run half the time, and we just let her run things down. And you know, it was a real selective process what she ultimately wanted to finish and mix. But yes, there are hours and hours and hours of takes that have never even, you know, been finalized. So yes, and it's great stuff. I mean, you know, whether she was playing solo at the grand piano doing her thing, or the band and her were jamming for hours on end, there's some great stuff that, you know, like you said, it'll be up to her whether or not, you know,
of course,
if it's time and place for it, you know, in the present world. To me, she seems like the same person, you know. You know, I guess as the cliche phrase goes, when in Rome, you know.
Yeah.
So she probably has to do what she has to do, you know, given the situation. But when we speak, it's sort of just like yesterday, you know. Just friendship, you know, finishing sessions and, you know, having a beer together, going to check out a show in a village, and chowing down Mexican food and drinking more beer.
Drinking beer.
I forgot what her drink of choice was back then. I think it was, I don't know, Smirnoff or whatever it was. We used to make some really pretty lousy mixed drinks. Whatever it was. She was legal, so don't worry.
Okay.
It was all good.
Okay.
You know, just hanging out and having a good time and just, you know, joking around and, you know, watching her just really get into everything. You know, it was just always a pleasure. The sessions were a breeze. It was really a good time. You know.
Fantastic. Well, can I just say a big thank you, obviously, to you for taking the time out to record this interview with us, and you know, it's going to be published on our website, and yeah, it's just fantastic.
Cool.
And it's good to have someone, you know, like yourself who's worked with Gaga at such an early stage to, you know, just talk about previous, you know, before Gaga broke out and talked about the old music. So thank you.
You can't stop